4.
We are Movie Menu Reviews. Prince Danny reviewing 2 new movies with Heather, McLane, and Z. Mike is on the soundboard. Podcasting around the world. Movie Menu is the place to be for podcasting.
Oh boy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nailed it. Well done.
A+. Is that like nailed it like from Netflix or nailed it?
Wow, that joke nailed it as well. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast and musical every so often, live on Facebook.
Live musical, no.
I am joined by our special guest and Disney expert, Heather McLane.
Hey!
Thanks
Hello,
so much,
Heather,
for being here.
Thanks for
so
being
happy
here.
to have you here. Also joining us is our wicked
the Wicked Witch?
Sorcerer
is Z.
I mean, I would have taken Street Rat. That would have been
Street Rat.
Yeah.
And also here is
I think Mike is more of a wizard than all of us.
A friend that none of us ever wanted, but a friend that we have.
That we have,
Mike's
yeah, there you go.
You never had a friend like me.
never had a friend like you, Mike.
Maybe that's not a compliment.
No, it's not. We never wanted a friend like you. I think that's the key point.
Well, you're stuck with me.
Yes,
Nothing you can do about it now.
We have no choice in that matter.
None.
But before we get into our movie reviews, we do have some movie news to cover. First things first is discuss the trailers that came out this past week.
Sure.
First one being Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino.
Is this his last?
No, he's said he was going to do 10 films and then retire after that. So
Wow.
This is his 9th film, and he made it a point to say on the trailer, this is his 9th film. What did you guys think about the trailer? Starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the trailer, and it kind of lets you know how much more this is like a period piece in the same way that Forrest Gump was. It seems like there's going to be a lot of the lead characters are going to go through a lot of historical things that had happened. And
I see what you mean.
Yeah, because you got Bruce Lee, you got Charles Manson,
Sharon Tate's in it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it seems like it's going to hit all these points of things that happened in 1969. So
also, like with Tarantino, like we saw in other films, he likes to deviate from actual history and
Right.
make up his own things.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he's going to alter history in this sense, as you were talking about.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, all right, he probably will. But I think we definitely. I'm definitely up. All right. First of all, I don't like Quentin Tarantino. Let's just say the obvious there. So for me, I'm looking at this trailer and I'm like, okay, cool. I look forward to it. I remember watching that one movie. Good Bad Times at El Royale. Was that the movie we reviewed?
Yes.
That did a really good job of showing you what Quentin Tarantino can do. It's like, for me, I feel like Quentin Tarantino. No, it was a great fun movie that really utilized the Charles Manson element far better. Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
I like how you're already that was a much
so-
better movie than the Quentin Tarantino movie that hasn't come out yet.
So just watching this trailer, I'm just not enthusiastic about it. I think that's just my issue with it. Is I see what Quentin Tarantino can do. He reminds me a lot of other actors who or these artists, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it. It might not be great, but it will be okay to watch.
Okay.
I'm not thrilled to watch it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
from you, yeah.
No, for example,
I
Kill Bill. I was really looking forward to Kill Bill. I remember when Kill Bill was announced. Now I'm just Quentin Tarantino's just another director where I'm like, yeah, okay.
So we have a comment from Michael Hills.
Sure.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
He says, I don't think it's going to be as nice like Forrest Gump.
It-
I agree.
No,
I
nor
don't
do
think
I.
it's,
I don't
it's
think
going to be
that's a
rated R for
good
sure. I don't think
comparison.
it's going to be
Yeah.
as nice and heartwarming as Forrest Gump.
What if it is?
It's not.
I'm actually looking forward to the film. I think Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained was great in that film.
Sure.
And Brad Pitt and Inglourious Basterds was great in that film. And I'm looking forward to see what they bring to the table. And also, I'm really excited for Margot Robbie. I heard things like her role is really small in the film, but
Yeah.
that she is the heart of the movie. So I'm
Interesting.
also looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, and that would be interesting again because I think Sharon Tate died during the massacre,
Yeah,
the
that's the
Manson
most
family.
famous murder.
Yeah. So okay,
Mansons.
should be interesting.
So it's Heather, are you looking forward to the film?
Yeah, actually, I saw the trailer a couple days ago, and I'm pretty excited about it. It looks interesting. I'm interested to see how it all comes together. Like, how is Charles Manson involved? And it should be an interesting story at the very least.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears into the next trailer that came out this week, and it's Terminator: Dark Fate. Linda Hamilton is back.
She
for this
is.
film. What did you guys think about the trailer for the latest Terminator film that basically takes away Rise of Machines and Salvation and Genesis? And then basically, this is a direct sequel to Judgment Day.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
The tagline is "The day after Judgment Day" is for this film.
So the Terminator is interesting because the Terminator is like it's the abusive ex-boyfriend that we know we should get away from, but we just can't help because we keep getting pulled back in. And I feel like Terminator is that in the right. Like none of us want to see this movie, but we all want.
We
to
are
see
not
this.
consenting to there
No,
being
you
abusive
should
boyfriends.
absolutely
I must
not
say that.
You should always say no and just accept that it's not going to work out. And I feel like we're in the same position with Terminator.
Z's thoughts are his own and his own alone.
All right,
But you're still gonna go, right?
yes.
You know, I'm happy.
That's
I'm
what
happy.
she always says.
See, the thing is, they also say in the trailer, and they make it a point to say, produced by James Cameron, who returns.
But that's a stupid phrasing, though. Like if you look at the trailer, it's a really stupid phrasing. It says, what does it say again? It says, from producer James Cameron returns. That doesn't make any grammatical sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't, and it's a little. I'm like, all right.
What does that even mean?
That's exactly my point.
Well, if you guys, so James Cameron had sold the rights to Terminator, where
Right.
another studio did it, and basically, he had until I think 2017, 2018 before he got the rights back to him.
Got it.
So now he officially has the rights back. Whereas he was in producer by name only in the past films, apparently he was more active in this film.
Yeah.
As producer. And Tim Miller, who did Deadpool,
He did do Deadpool,
and directed that film, is the director for this film.
Yeah, and Charles H. Egley, we should note that he's the writer of the movie. He's done a lot of like TV, so he's done like The Walking Dead, some seriously good TV though. So I feel like they are giving it to the right people. I feel like Tim Miller, we know he can direct action. So, and this is a good writer. We got Linda Hamilton coming back. We also have Mackenzie Davis, who I've loved since her work on not Burn After Reading. That's another movie.
Catch It on Fire?
That show was phenomenal. Yeah. So I'm glad to see her coming back and actually hitting the big screen hard because she looks really badass in this movie. My one huge complaint with the trailer though is that the bad guy, not the T-1000,
Gabriel Luna, I think is his name. Yeah, Gabriel Luna.
Yeah.
Who people might know from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who played Ghost Rider.
Yeah, so it's a little weird that we put the white women as a savior and then the Mexicans as bad guys.
Well, it's a Latina new Sarah Connor. She's the new Sarah. Now, this also begs a question, like what happened to John Connor?
That's true.
Where's his storyline? Did
He's
he
probably
not make it?
No, he's stuck in a bunker. That's what.
Or is he with Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in that cabin or whatever? They were.
Okay.
We don't know.
They're going to explain it with
because
like,
she said that I used to be you.
Right.
So
right.
meaning did that mission fail? Did Judgment Day happen? So we'll see. I'm actually looking forward to it. Again, like every time the new Terminator comes out, I'll somehow get excited. And somehow let that down.
Just like an abusive relationship.
But Linda Hamilton is back, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I was excited to see her when she popped up
me
in
too.
the trailer. I was really excited.
And there was some really cool action in there. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm wondering what Mackenzie Davis's character is like, because they talked about you like human, and she's like, I am human, which was very reminiscent to Salvation.
Yeah.
So when they thought the lead character thought he was human, but he was really a robot.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't take off to that. Yeah. And maybe they've genetically altered humans to be more advanced. To fight the robots.
Sure.
The machines, I should say.
I just want this movie to actually work. That's all I have to say about this.
Do you think James Cameron is trying to kind of like retcon everything that happened while he wasn't involved?
Pretty much.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And you would too, right? If it's your property, you would want to make sure to kind of bring it back to center in some way. But I feel like a lot of the problems with the movies that came thereafter, they did the same thing that Cameron's probably going to do in this movie, which is explaining away in one sentence. James Cameron, he went back to college. What? Okay.
Well, it seemed to be like a thing that's going to be happening. Like they did that with Halloween. They retconned the films after the first one, and then they.
How must it feel to be the director on those films, though? Right. McBean must be like McG. It's McG. McG must be just kind of like, well, okay.
No, because he got all the hatred already, anyways.
He did. Yeah.
So did the other ones. So I think they're like whatever about it. It's a paycheck to them.
It is a paycheck
at this point.
That's true. That's fair.
One thing I enjoyed about the trailer was the music. So normally I'm annoyed by like the slow cover stuff, but I really liked the song choice for this, which is unfortunately I don't know the artist, but it was a cover of a Bjork song called Hunter, and I thought it was a really cool rendition for the trailer. So
female empowerment.
Sung by a male singer.
Yeah, that's true.
that is
unfortunately.
Just gotta say that's Tim Miller's
sensibility.
That's a sensibility. Yeah, it's a bit of a wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our reviews.
Eventually.
Hold on.
One day.
Someday. There we go.
Movie.
Hey. Did we mention we're live?
No, shut up.
No, we're not. Yeah,
Stop your talking. Okay, the first movie we're reviewing is Brightburn, directed by David Yarovetsky, written by Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn. Here's the plot. What if a child from another world crash-landed on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister? Starring Elizabeth Banks, David Denman, and Jackson A. Dunn. All right, guys. So, Heather, you did not see this film.
Did not.
So, depending on our spoiler-free review, you shall decide this movie is worth a dine and watch in theaters, take out, wait, and watch it at home, or leftovers. Go ahead and get killed by a superhero or a supervillain.
Supervillain, yeah.
You automatically get a point because you're on.
Yeah, you're on here.
I feel like I have so much power today.
You do. You are now Brightburn.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and rate this film. Z, you go first.
Okay, I'm gonna go and say I was looking forward to this movie. I wanted to enjoy this movie, but this movie is probably a soft takeout for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike?
Takeout as well.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a takeout.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie does not stand up.
The one thing that bothers me, and this is spoiler free, but the problem with that is that a lot of the film is shown in the trailer.
Yeah,
and it's like all the really good parts in the film are essentially in the trailer itself. And so when I went in to go watch this movie, I was really annoyed by that. Because
you're like, that scene hasn't happened yet that I saw in the trailer.
That's exact. I actually had that moment where I was like, well, okay, but we know that they're safe because in the trailer, this happens much later. Exactly. I had that moment, and I walked out of this movie. It was an hour and a half movie, but I walked out of this movie going, wow, that took forever. The pacing in this movie was just unbearable. So you saw everything in the trailer, and it felt like you should have just watched the trailer and you would have had a much better day than watching this movie.
Amazing trailer. Dine in on the trailer.
Yeah. The trailer tells you everything.
The concept itself is great.
Yes, great concept.
Especially as like comic book fans as we are.
Totally.
In the comics, there is a part where Superman does go evil.
Sure.
But for it to start from like not birth, but when he was a kid, that's such an interesting thing to watch and develop because Superman or Clark Kent gets his humanity from his parents.
Right.
And you see the duality of these parents working with this child and how he embraces his powers to be more sinister, I guess.
Yeah. Like there's already like, I think that's part of the feeling of the movie. It's that like as soon as he gets his powers, he becomes the villain in the story. But it's like prior to that, you saw him being this all-American boy. You really got to see Clark Kent because he's got good parents and it's looking really good. Then the powers are the reason why. But see, and that's
I would have loved to see a struggle.
Yes, that's exactly it. Well, and
he just as soon as he got his powers, it's like, okay, I'm bad.
Yeah. Like oh, okay, and there's a moment where he's like, I am superior, and you're like, okay, but struggle with it a little bit. Like, give us something more. And I don't know if that's a feeling of the actor. But no, I don't think it is. I think it's just a feeling of the writing. I think this is just a writing being incredibly poor. And because, and I think the other part that was central for this was that I kind of also wanted a hero to root for, and they put it on Elizabeth Banks, but honestly, like you needed an equal counterpart.
Yeah, exactly.
A good hero movie is counterpointed by their villain, and in this movie you just had a villain and that's all you got. So it just kind of felt flat the whole time.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with it too was just like character, the character motivation seemed very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like how a mom and a dad would treat a son. Like things are like wavering. It's like a mom normally wouldn't like shift so easily. Like a lot of these characters, they shift their personality so quickly that it just like breaks any type of reality that was set in the beginning. And I don't blame the child actor who played the lead. I think
he did the best he could with what he had.
I think like, and exactly as Dan had said, there's no like struggle. A good example to me is like season 2 of like Stranger Things.
Sure.
Like I think this could have been better off if it was like more of like a possession movie, like
which is kind of where you initially thought this movie was going to go, right? Like, did you not feel like this was going to be a possession movie?
It felt like
kind of.
I think it should have went in that direction of this child. There's no inner battle.
No, yeah,
and it never.
It would have been great had there been a moment in which the same way that The Exorcist had a moment where like she was a real girl, right? Like she was not possessed yet, and then all of a sudden you see the possession happen and she's struggling with it. There's none of that in here. It's like light switch. He gets turned on because puberty. There you go. And then that's it. And that's literally it. And it's like, you got to see his superpowers and you just were like, okay, well, yeah, okay. You know exactly. Like, I feel like that's the other problem with this movie is that had they introduced, and I was hoping, there was a moment in the movie where there were some sub characters that were in there that I was like, okay, maybe they're going to introduce, like, there's going to be like a Justice League that's hidden somewhere in this world because the cops are calling for this code. And then, yeah, that doesn't happen. And so I feel like because that you know exactly how the movie's going to end. From the beginning of the movie, you know how the movie's going to end. And that's a huge failing of storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, there's no surprise.
Yeah.
Which
I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
So did it kind of feel like a coin flip, like getting the powers and then you could either go good or bad and we just went bad with no...
The next day he's crazy.
There was no like little increments of things happening that lead into him becoming a villain. It was just like puberty, villain. You're like, oh, come on, man! Like at least try, like at least give me something.
Yeah, he had no remorse for anything either.
Or even at that, like, fine, if you're gonna go in that direction, show me that he was already a bad guy even prior to this,
which the parents would have noticed, right?
Right, exactly.
Which is, so the parents never, and that's never written in the story that parents acknowledged that there was always something strange about him, like other than the fact that he's fallen from the sky, but there's never like they just act like everything was normal until. His moment of puberty.
Have you guys seen the movie We Need to Talk About Kevin?
Yes, love that movie. Yes, absolutely phenomenal movie.
I wish it would, instead of taking it from the kid's side, I wish it would have been like more of the parent side of that. Then we would have had something to root for, being like the downfall or the like the person who is responsible for this being,
Yeah.
and then the failure of that. And
Well,
just
right. Yeah, exactly. Imagine the same way that we need to talk about Kevin. It takes place 10 years after the fact, and then you see the mom, you see Elizabeth Banks suffering through all of the grief of being the mother to a supervillain, and then you get to see through flashbacks the origins of the villain, and you would have seen like she was just ignoring all these facts. That would have been a much better movie. We've just written a better movie.
we did.
There's so many good...
I mean, granted, it was already written, and we're kind of stealing it from the idea, but yes.
Isn't that how most movies?
Yeah, that's just
inspired.
That's called an adaptation.
Adapting.
Inspired by James Cameron Returns. There you go.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
Yeah.
No, I think there's so many good like subplots. I mean, there's like so many potential good plots if any of them would have been developed.
Yeah.
Like this film could have easily been a very small, like it could have been more of like an indie film.
It should have been an indie film.
It could have just been the parents with the son from beginning to end, and then like the son just slowly turning into what he's turning into.
Yeah.
And then it could have, there's so many directions it could have gone, but unfortunately all these cool little things like didn't get its full development. The good things that I did enjoy in this were,
let's talk about the good things.
Yeah,
because it's not leftovers from us.
No.
Yeah.
So there's some good in it.
Yeah.
The gore.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, the gore is great and the action's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that's the part for me was which was fun to watch in this movie was like, well, what if Superman actually did go really bad? Then you got to see what that would look like, because the character, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, had all the same powers, right?
I
Flight,
think so.
heat vision, super speed, strength. Right, that's the majority of all. I mean, he didn't show breath, but whatever. That one's a weak one. So it looks like
he kind of did though.
Did he?
Because all the windows,
the windows in the Brightburn messages.
So maybe like a hint of it.
Okay, fine. So there was that, and I really thoroughly enjoyed seeing how if Superman were to have gone full rogue and say, for example, DC actually did a rated R movie, that's what it would look like, and I thought that was really cool to watch. I thought that also just simply watching Elizabeth Banks struggle with it, that was probably the best part for me, was seeing her struggle and never kind of backing away from like accepting that that's her son, she needs to protect them, and everyone telling her, no, you really need to keep an eye on this kid. And again, I wish they explored that more than focusing on the superpowers and anything else. It's weird. It's like a tale of two stories. Like this movie could have been good on two different parts. But I like that from Elizabeth Banks.
What was it rated? Was
rated
it
R? Oh, hard R.
Yeah, it was really R.
Yeah.
It was really there was a lot of gore in this film.
Yeah. Okay. It didn't shy away from it, which I appreciated. I think there's a part of me that appreciated, but a part of me that also said, okay, you clearly have nothing else going for you, so you're just going to gore it up. And there's a moment where you see
like the Final Destination sequels, where it's just about how they're going to get killed.
Yeah,
that's basically all you watch it
that's
for.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
When you see the superheroes that the kid has, like the later, it takes away the suspense of the later scenes.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. There's no element that really kind of shows me that like, okay, this movie's going to be like. Yeah. Anyways, I think for me the part that was really gory to the point where I was like, okay, this is not just gratuitous. Was the scene where you see someone's jaw fall off, and it's like, okay, you didn't have to do that, because you didn't just have to do that, but in doing that, you've now shown your hand in that you literally have no story. You're just trying to make people freak out by the gore, right? This was like when I saw that moment, I was like, we are watching Saw. We're watching We're watching the bad Saw movies.
I felt like it was more in the Final Destination tropes.
Very campy,
but also in the sense like I don't know. But the deaths that happened, they looked like they weren't caused by any supernatural being. Like there was this whole conspiracy or whatever, and they don't think like, oh, it must be someone murdering people. No, it's just like accidents happen.
But they don't look like accidents, and that's where I was like, okay, but that's No.
Well, they look like freak accidents.
They don't look like anything like freak accidents. Like all of it, you were just kind of like, okay, it's in a trailer where he like shoots his laser eyes into the fridge and cuts it open, rips it apart. Nobody at that point said we should call the FBI. Like there was no reasonability of like somebody going like this is wrong in the huge ways. Let's call the Justice League. I wish somebody just said let's call the guys who handle the supernatural stuff just in case, and it would have broadened the world. It would have made it bigger and more interesting.
Yeah.
But instead, it wastes its time on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Z.
So anyway, there are good things. It's an enjoyable movie. It's 90 minutes long, so that's probably why.
Is that your final thoughts?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mike, final thoughts?
Fun gore, fun action, superpower stuff, but the plot is kind of wooden.
Yeah.
Rigo made a comment.
Go for it.
He says, or in Shazam, he's immune to bullets. He's bulletproof.
He's bulletproof.
He has bulletproof immunity.
Bulletproof immunity. Bullet immunity.
Yeah,
Bullet
go watch
immunity,
Shazam instead. That was actually a fun movie of what would happen if a kid got powers.
Would have been fun to see him develop his powers, like see like him figuring that like what
because there was a struggle in Shazam, right? Like he was like, I'm not going to be a total dumbass. Like, yeah.
So I say it's a movie worth watching on Netflix at home.
I agree.
Not anything to go out of theater watch. And there's some really cool parts. The story itself is like whatever. Concept was great. Execution not so much. But it's still a watchable film. Heather, what do you think?
Well, you guys were pretty convincing that it's obviously a takeout, so I'll watch it later. But what I'm getting from you guys is that it's a really good idea that wasn't very well developed or well written. So they maybe should have tried something a little different. But I don't know. I'll watch the trailer and it'll be great.
Yeah, just watch the trailer for 90 minutes.
Just watch it, put it on loop for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think that
was the whole movie.
That would do it.
Basically.
So watch it at home. Take out.
Perfect. So now we have takeout. We wait takeout for Brightburn. Let's move on to the next film.
Movie menu.
And the next film we're reviewing is Disney's Aladdin, directed by Guy Ritchie, written by John August, and screenplay also by Guy Ritchie, based on Disney's Aladdin from 1992. Here's the plot. A kind-hearted street urchin and a power-hungry grand vizier vie for a magic lamp that has the power to make their deepest wishes come true. Starring Will Smith, Mina Masad, Naomi Scott, and Maura Kanzari. All right, guys, we have all seen this film, so we shall decide if this movie's worth the dine and watch in theaters, take out, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers. Wish ourselves to go back to 1992 and watch the original.
There you go.
Heather, as our guest, you have the option of potentially winning a point if you are able to sway us all to go to your votes, or just copy us and and ensure you're winning. No, I'm going to make you go first anyways. So, on that note, let's rate this film. Heather, as our guest, you can go first.
I'm going to give it a dine-in.
Mike?
I'm going to give it a takeout.
Z?
I'm going to give it a dine-in.
Okay.
I am also going to give it a dine-in.
Yeah. But, well, I guess I would say probably a soft dine-in for me, but yes, it's a dine-in.
I actually really enjoyed this rendition of it. Surprisingly went in after all the hate that Will Smith got from that image.
To be fair, if your expectations are set to low, you are then likely to enjoy something.
If you watch this after watching Dumbo,
second that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, but also like the CGI, and let's just be very clear about it. The CGI does not get any better. What you see in the trailer is what you get in the movie, and it's poor, it's bad, and I think that's a huge, like, I just don't think that they can do muscles that well. I wish they would have done. Seriously, when I was watching the movie, I was thinking, why didn't they just do what they did for Captain America, where they had like the thin body but CGI someone's face on it? Because the genie in this movie is like obviously very like strong, But they could have just CG'd his face onto a strong body because the neck never works. That's where what's it called
the
again?
Valley?
The valley. Yeah, that's where it leaves the uncanny valley. As soon as you get to the neck, the face looks fine, the body looks fine, but the neck is where the problem lies. And the entire time watching the movie, I was like, the neck is weird.
Can you explain the uncanny valley for those who don't know?
Yeah, the uncanny valley. I mean, I'm sure most of the people who listen to movie reviews know this. It's a CGI element that happens when a CGI goes a little too far and they try to do something that is too realistic, but your eye can catch the difference in what's real versus what's unreal, and your eye just can't let go of that. So, for example, there's a moment in Terminator, I think Part 3 or something, where they break someone's head and it's like the Terminator's head is wobbling, and it's like as soon as you see that and you see Arnold's head wobbling, it looks fake because your eyes catch that. Your eyes are naturally attuned to catching what is real versus what's not real. And a lot of that has to do with, and this is a central word in CGI, weight. If something looks like it has weight, it looks real. If something looks like it doesn't have weight, that's when your eyes catch the the uncanny valley portion of it. And with the genie, you really did see that there was no weight behind the massive genie. I think that was the issue. So that immediately, if your problem was that in the trailer, your problem's going to be that in the movie.
But that being said,
yes.
After all the hate that Will Smith got for
Totally.
his image, I think he did a pretty damn good job.
Amazing job. Yeah, he was great.
He had to follow up Robin Williams, which is not an easy feat to do, and he made it his own.
That's what
but
I was
still
gonna
lovable.
Say. Yeah, and he needed to go a completely different direction because you can't replace Robin Williams, and Will Smith made it very Will Smith. It was very him. I think he did a really good job.
Well, it was like watching Hitch. So I think that was my other issue. Was that it was like watching Hitch because he's basically trying to tell Aladdin how to, get the girl. Right? Did you guys ever watch Hitch?
I loved that movie.
Okay, great. Okay, I was like, am I the only one who watched Hitch? Please tell me you guys have watched Hitch.
Oh, no, I didn't see it.
Oh, I mean, it's a fun movie. It's just not the greatest. It's just a fun movie. But yes, he definitely made it his own. And I think the part for me now, full disclosure, I loved Aladdin. Watching it as a kid, as a brown kid growing up, that was the one Disney character that I could actually identify with. So part of me watching this movie was about identity. And so when I was going in to this movie, I was reading some critiques about the way that Will Smith is playing it. But what I can appreciate was the fact that Will Smith is clearly a Robin Williams fan, and you get to see that in this movie. You see the homages, but you see him making it his own, and I think because of that, I can respect what he did with the role.
And I can actually tell, and it's very obvious on screen, that he was having fun in this role.
Oh, totally. Yeah, there's that end segment that's very similar to what was that one movie with Slumdog Millionaire? Yeah, that was like clearly that they were having fun on set, and that's what I'm really thankful for is that he went in all the way in and never said like I'm not gonna do my own.
Not gonna commit.
Yeah, like he committed. It was, and I think that's another great strength of this movie is that all the actors highly commit to their roles regardless of campiness.
Oh, we got an argument going on.
Go ahead. Who is this?
So, Bigo and Michael Hill.
Sure, okay.
Michael Hills responded, well, he does float. So I think he's talking about the Uncanny Valley and it being light and not weighted.
That's stupid, but okay.
Bigo said Aladdin was a takeout for him. Genie having a love interest was terrible.
Oh,
I like that.
Wait.
Spoilers. I feel like that's a spoiler.
Well, Michael says, why would that be terrible? Bigo says it's unnecessary. Michael's like, everything that exists is unnecessary.
Wow.
So they're just arguing back and forth.
Great. I'm podcasting, having somebody read you comments.
I like how Dan's reading them as well.
Okay. So to
moving on.
Yes. The lightness element. It doesn't matter. You can still have somebody floating and still look like weight. They did a really good job in the scene with the carpet ride. That actually looked really, really good and very weighted down. And that's because they use a similar element that they did in Harry Potter. That's why when you see Harry Potter flying on brooms thereafter, part 3.
I was going to say,
after part 3.
Didn't go well.
Yeah, after part 3, that's when they started introducing using harnesses to make it look and feel weighted down. That's what I mean. In this movie, if you watched it, it does not look like Will Smith is anywhere in the room. It looks like he's somewhere else.
Well, he is. He is CGI completely.
Exactly, and that's the point. He's not in the room. He doesn't feel weighted down. The other issue was, okay, so they already spoiled the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with Rigo about that.
You don't?
I felt like it was forced.
I didn't. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Too. I mean, it was a great addition to the movie.
Well, okay, can I just? Sorry, I know, Mike, you want to jump in here and dispute this, but
Sure,
I think the real truth of the element was this: in the original Aladdin, he wanted his freedom, but why did he want his freedom? And I think that putting a relationship in there allowed you to explore the motivation behind. I agree. I had a similar inkling. I was like, ooh, why are they doing that? But then after the fact, I was like, that's actually really good motivation to want to live as a human, is to find somebody who you can fall in love with. And I thought that was a brilliant way of introducing that element.
I think it was like a weird setup for that as well. I don't know if talking about that would ruin it, but I felt like it was a strange setup, and for me, it felt like it was an unnecessary subplot. So
I enjoyed it.
I did too, and I think one of the things that did make it a little awkward was actually her character. Was an awkward. She was an awkward person.
She was.
And it was an interesting choice to go with that. But I think that's the only thing for me that made that plot, the subplot, a little bit awkward was her character, and so their interactions were a little awkward.
Yeah. What? And I think a part of what was jarring to me is that this is like, it's very, very much a musical. This is a musical.
Yeah.
But
so was Aladdin.
Yeah, I know, but I know that's the strange thing. Like seeing it in
Stop
live.
hating musicals, Mike.
Seeing it in live action, it just like I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I struggle with that. But I do have to say, I thought Naomi Scott was amazing.
Naomi Scott was great in it.
Yeah, Naomi Scott knocked it out of the park.
She was great as Princess Jasmine.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually had to IMDb and make sure that she wasn't the original voice actor, because I felt like she had the voice down. Like, she sounded really good, like, as far as, like, comparing the cartoon to this. So she did a great job of, one, voicing it out, and secondly, and this is another key element of this movie, is that why are you recreating movies if you're not updating them in some way for the new generation? And I think that she knocked it out of the park to make it a movie about women's liberation in a really great way that Bollywood actually kind of like focuses on. So I thought that was a really interesting way of integrating that. So I think she was fantastic.
I think that was a lot of the writing also.
Yeah.
But that's one of the points I wanted to make sure we got to, is that it really does, it always kind of bothered me that, or at least as an adult, that there was no talk of the patriarchy and like why, why does Jasmine have to marry a prince, and why can't she be sultan? And they did actually tackle those topics in this, which I really, really appreciated.
And it was in the original cartoon. Like, it really, like, Jasmine saying, I don't want to marry him. I don't want to marry. So there was a lot of that. But there's a moment in the movie where it makes a clear point to say.
They dive deeper into it.
Yeah, and I thought that wasn't necessary, but I was grateful that they did it. And I think that Naomi Scott's voice, when she does her moment of Bollywood, right? Because it's really a moment of like this is now outside of reality. She is now really just in her mind singing a song, and it does it visually really well, and you know what she's thinking. So when she does the thing that she does,
I just thought of Infinity War when that happened, but that's just me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The dusting part, but that's just
no, that's not. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, it does a really good job of showing that, and I think, you know what. Also, just to give it up to the Aladdin character, Mina Massoud, because he was also brilliant in this movie. He really had to try hard to ruin this character, and he was meek. He was tiny. He was, in fact, the diamond in the rough, and I think he did a really good job of being.
But he was also charming.
I was gonna say being charming, yeah.
And he's definitely someone you enjoyed following their adventures on. Now, there were complaints about Jafar. I've read and heard. What did you guys think about Jafar in this film? I didn't mind him. I thought he was good.
Yeah, I think that was it Marwan, right? That's the actor. First of all, great actor. I really do enjoy his work, but I think he had to do something that was alien to where the movie's original theme was going, in that he had to play a very campy character. And so
I think it was less campy than the original one.
Definitely.
it was definitely less campy, but it still had an edge of campiness to it. And I think he did a really good job of staring into the camera and doing the evil laugh. Like I actually kind of like was like, all right, that was hard to do, and I can understand you having a difficult time doing that. But he did a really good job. I liked it. Well, what have people said?
Oh, that he was just so Jafar was a spoiled brat. And I'm like, he's always been kind of a spoiled.
Yeah, that's his character.
I actually thought that there was more character development for
I agree.
Jafar in this movie.
I did
than
like
the
this
animated.
backstory.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like the way that and again, they didn't have to do this. They could have just recreated the whole thing, just like Beauty and the Beast, which was terrible. But instead, what they did was that they really kind of gave a better character development to the villain. And again, they didn't have to. They got rid of Iago, right? They still have Iago in there, but he's not like a side character. He's just a parrot. And so you really had this development of a character.
He's also like the spy. But
yeah, in a small
I actually
capacity.
really like what they did with Iago too,
Yeah.
because he wasn't such a big character as he was in the animated, but I really like how they used him, and that was the only CGI that was really good.
Yeah, well, the Raja was really phenomenal.
Yeah, Raja was great.
yeah. But the monkey Abu was terrible.
Yeah. Abu was pretty awful.
His poor little face always looked so strange.
It did, yeah. Uncanny Valley. There you go. But yes,
his eyes were weird.
So I think that again, the actor had a really difficult role to play, but he really did a good job of again making him human and making us understand that Jafar in this movie is basically Aladdin had he gone a different path, and I think that's cool.
Agreed. And now actually that's a very good point. But let's move on to Mike's favorite topic, the musical numbers.
Yes. Well,
what do you guys think about the musical numbers in this? And was there any of them? We lightly talked about some of them.
I'll let you guys, the music geese people, talk about this. Go ahead.
Which one was your favorite musical piece?
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
I think definitely Prince Ali, the prince arriving in town. That was the most fun I had during the movie, and that song's been stuck in my head ever since.
I did too. That was probably the best song in the whole movie, and it's funny because everyone from the original knows A Whole New World, and A Friend Like Me. But I feel in this film, Prince Ali was the standout.
Well, and I think it was a standout because visually you really had to bring it, and it was brought. Like I've seen the stage play, I've seen Aladdin a million times, and you really had to bring it visually, and they did such a good job of using colors, of using culture to depict all of that bombastic songs without making it the cartoon. Because I remember in the cartoon you had like elephants on top of elephants. They didn't do that in this one. But it was visually stunning to watch, and the music was also on point. Like it was a really well done sequence.
Well, it's a good thing is that they used the original composer from the original film, and they brought him back.
That's
for
great.
This film.
That's great. That's exactly what you wanted to do.
And updated the music for this film, which I thought it was really smart of them to do. We have a question asking, how is the cinematography, Dan, from Rigo?
How is the cinematography, Dan?
For the most part, I enjoyed it. It was very beautifully shot. The
world looked great, and
I like how they had Agrabah near the ocean.
Yeah, that was killer. It was a great visuals. Go ahead, Heather. Sorry, I interrupted you.
The cinematography was great, but as we were kind of talking about before we started, the editing was horrific.
Yes,
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, although
it was fun. That we all know the famous scene of him trying to run away from the guards when he first meets Jasmine. But it felt very much like that video game. Do you guys remember playing the Aladdin video game? Where you could jump off the canopies? I was like, this feels like the video game, but it was such choppy editing.
It was choppy editing.
They used parkour to their advantage.
They did a really good job. I actually really appreciate the level of parkour that Aladdin had on this. That actually made it that much more, again, weighted down and real. But yes, I to speak of what Heather was talking about, the editing in this movie, cinematography, Rigo, is fantastic. You will love that if you haven't already seen the movie. But the editing, I think on second viewing, you will catch all these weird chops that they did.
Well, it's crazy.
It's almost like it slows and speeds up.
It is.
It speeds up. It's like in I almost wanted to put Benny Hill behind it.
Well, and
they go faster than they should have. But the song itself is slow in real time.
Yes,
that's where the balance.
They were trying trying to match.
balances
They were trying to match it, I think. But again, I think that it's also just symbolic of Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie does movies
style.
like that. That's his style. And sadly, you got to see the style in that, and that didn't work.
Not in this film.
No.
Actually, what do you guys think about that? That Disney had Guy Ritchie, of all people, to direct this film.
Such an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But it didn't really work for me, but that's okay.
Well, and it's like you have a solid director. Like, let's face it, Guy Ritchie knows how to direct. He just directs badly sometimes.
So you're saying he knows how to direct badly?
No. What I'm saying is that he knows how to direct really good movies.
Yeah, the last film he did was
Snatch being a really good one.
was
Robin
Arthur?
Williams? No, Robin Williams. Robin Hood, wasn't it? Did he
Robin
not do
Hood, yeah.
Robin Hood? Yeah.
No. It wasn't Robin Hood.
It wasn't Robin Hood?
It was King Arthur.
King Arthur.
That's right.
I think he did do something after that.
Right. So the point being, and he makes very like kind of like guy films, from like British guy films, which is an awkward genre to be fitted in. Again, refer to Snatch as a perfect, and Lock, Stock, and Two Barrels as a perfect reference of Guy Ritchie films. But I think that because he knows how to direct, there are some sequences in the movie that are really beautifully shot that only a really good director can do. Right. And so the sequences that are clearly Guy Ritchie going like, I'm going to inject my own thing in this, don't work. The scenes where he's just doing a director's job and doing a great job about it work really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually agree 100% with that. Okay. Any final thoughts before we end this review? Mike?
I think.
Okay, moving on.
I think you could enjoy this at home, and we didn't mention that there's completely new. There's new songs.
There's new songs.
Yeah.
There's new sequences. They got rid of the whole beginning portion of the movie.
Yeah. And I think the
they go straight into Jasmine.
The music stands out, and it sounds very modernized, and it's like a strange contrast to the rest of the songs in the film. But and these are songs that are given specifically to Jasmine. But Naomi Scott, she does an amazing job singing.
Well, and just as a sort of a Cine Literate reference point, Dan, you just said that the movie begins on Jasmine, and I think that's the point. This movie's Aladdin, but the movie's actually about Jasmine, and it tells you right at the beginning.
Yeah. Z, final thoughts?
I think that this movie is enjoyable in theaters. However, wait till the rush dies down. I watched it in a theater full of children, and a lot of them were crying because this movie has elements of horror in it. And I remember watching it as a kid. Yes, when Jafar turns into the bad genie. Yeah, that's entirely horrific.
I felt like they toned it down.
They toned it down a lot, but the kids were still in tears.
I mean, the Cave of Wonders is still kind of like.
I wish it did a little more Cave of Wonders, but yes, you're right. But I'm saying, like, I say, watch this movie in theaters. One, it's beautiful on screen. The colors, the visual style is on point. This movie, I believe, will either get an Academy or will be nominated because visually and the wardrobe, all of it works incredibly well. And you don't want to cheapen that by watching it at home on a small screen.
Also, we should mention that they did change the rules in this film versus the original regarding making wishes.
Explain more.
Which I thought was interesting.
Oh, just like
that they had to touch the lamp and rub the lamp. Before he didn't have to touch the lamp.
Right, he just had to
just say "I wish."
Yeah, that's true.
And the wishes are a little different in this film as well as the original films as well.
But I think that was fine. I think they're added characteristics.
Just something to mention, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Heather, final thoughts?
I loved the diverse cast.
Yes.
There was, I think, one white person in the whole film.
Yes, you're right.
And I loved that. I loved the female-centric viewpoint of the whole movie. I think it was right to go with Jasmine. There's some awkward things, but in general, they did a good job of following the original animated movie, and then the edits that they did make, the changes they did make, were for the positive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they added some like different story elements, some different plot points. You know, some things went a little bit different than the original movie, but I think it really worked.
Yeah,
and it gave a little bit more power to Jasmine, and also I appreciated that her father wasn't such a bumbling idiot.
Also true.
As the original Sultan, because that always kind of irritated me. Like, he was such an idiot.
Acted by a really great actor too. He comes out in Legion. He plays he's so good in that one. But just to jump on your point about like diversity in this movie does a really good job of just showcasing great talent from different cultures, and I think that's another really important thing, that this movie's a feat in culture, which is a shocker to say that comes from Guy Ritchie, because he is clearly Eurocentric. He really does make Eurocentric films, but this movie does a really good job of just kind of like, and I think there's a backlash, right? This movie's a response to a backlash when Mulan was being casted, and they were casting white people only to play Mulan's characters, and this movie was kind of like a repercussion of that. So I'm glad that they've went away from that, casting these amazing talented actors, Will Smith being the only exception of American actor, and I think that makes for a much more visually stunning film. But also, again, me being when I was a little boy, I remember watching Aladdin just thinking like, that's the only character I can identify with, and watching this movie Aladdin again being updated, I was like, oh no, they're gonna screw that up. I was very happy to see somebody who I could also identify with because of color, and that's important. And unless you are of color, you don't understand that struggle of being like, there's nobody who I can be. So it was really great to watch that.
Down to everybody in the city, like all the extras, it was really nice.
Yeah,
it felt like I was there.
Yeah, it was exactly what Beauty and the Beast was trying to do, but this actually did a much better job of showing that.
And the next one up is going to be The Lion King, so we'll see how they do with that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
My final thoughts is this movie is a lot of fun. The updates are great, and I really enjoyed it. I saw it in 3D and
I did too.
recommended it in 3D. And the cast is great. The music is great. There's editing is maybe questionable, but overall, it's a fun film. Go watch it in theaters.
Honestly, A Whole New World was like my most disappointment.
Really?
Yeah, musical number. Just throw that in there. I mean, it was good, but it just.
Or just because it had such an impact when the cartoon film came out.
I was gonna say that too.
I mean, they didn't do anything different from if you watch. Yeah. It's just the fact that it's not as. I feel like Ali took that.
Yeah,
this film.
It did. I think so too. Yeah. And I think we were all so burnt out on that song anyways. I think we've all heard that song repeatedly, that Prince Ali being a number that I think we all agree with, that we didn't really like in the original as much.
And it never stood out to me.
It never stood out to us. So because that one, A Whole New World, we've heard it so much, especially because it was up for the Oscar, right? So I think just because of that reason, this movie didn't really play hard into that. Prince Ali was the standing number in this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we say dine in for Aladdin and take out for Brightburn.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Heather, for being on this show.
Thanks for having me.
Anything you'd like to plug?
Nope.
Cool.
Well, we always are happy to have you on. Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
And also thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Dan.
And I'm Dan the Man. Thank you so much for watching us live. If you were watching us live on Facebook, if you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe. Also, visit our website at moviemenupodcast.com. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel. Our Instagram, we do behind-the-scenes videos and pictures, so make sure to follow us and like us there. Until next time, guys. Thank you, and goodbye.
See you later.
2, 3, 4. Skibidi